All right, as we are setting up here, it looks like Myra, as the killer for Team Fruity Loopers, has started to place their traps using, again, fastening tools being a very common add-on, likely something that I would love to see Trapper getting included in their base kit, alongside a Trapper Bag coming with the 3 traps here, looking to just set up as much early game as possible.
I think this is the first match that we've seen with Trapper so far without Corrupt, so it looks like Myra would prefer some of the perks that would kind of help them all game here. We haven't seen any of the perks come into play yet, so I can't exactly talk about them as of yet, but we'll see how this goes. It looks like our first chase would be with Megan. They do not commit. They're just collecting traps at the moment and taking the smart way in and setting them up in the beginning.
Oh, a little blast to the face here coming from the survivors. Again, secondary kick, it's always so painful.
Yeah, not only does Blast Mine flash, but it also stuns. I'm not sure if people know that. Apparently, Blast Mine will also stun you, even if you have Lightborn.
Yeah, you do get and honestly, again, one of my favorite spots here does catch a survivor. Megan has been caught here again, trying to place inside your 3-gen as much as possible, seeing our very first hook of the game, and there we see another perk being used.
We do have one perk being used, Pain Res hook on the Scourge, so that Myra did use their first token for Pain Res here. They do have 3 tokens left. Let's see if they decide to spread them out or if they decide to start putting just a bunch of pressure start of the game with their chases here.
Now, another perk would be coming into play here, as it does reflect on damage states taken. An exhaustion perk here. We're going to see a locker play here. Scratch marks are leaving, but again, not really falling for this. They are just going to continue to set up as much as possible.
Yeah, the first couple gens, like we said in the other 2 games, it's probably the best play to just not put as much pressure and just get those traps done, because those traps are going to really be your bread and butter if they're set up correctly.
Now, Myra was able to get a swipe here on Mindset to Decay, falling into a trap right afterwards. A little bit of a blind here, a little bit of trying to get their vision to go looking downwards, potentially going in for a blind here, seeing Champion of Light in play here. Myra looking to the skies, looking for the light coming from that sky.
We do have a fresh hook on Mindset, so fresh points on the Survivor. We also have another Pain Res token in use. Going after the Ace now, Blunts is going to try and take advantage of Shaq, and I think they might have done a scope recently to see if there's any traps nearby that as well.
Seeing the drop down there, we do see another perk in play here coming in. With a fast kick. You can always tell by the yellow bar what perk is getting used here. We'll wait just to call it as you know, the map does progress, as there's a couple perks that do this. We're seeing another swipe here on Michaela, which is I Am This Noob, heading over to again, as we term, the treehouse, their favorite tile to run.
Now, Myra is being careful going up their stairs due to a trap placement. It does look like the survivors already know it's there.
Again,
considering
that's the second trap in the same place. For survivors, always best to call out those traps if you're on a hook to tell where the trapper is placing. As Noob Michaela does go and fall into the same trap that our Adam did.
100% communication is going to be so key with those trap placements.
Again, something that we do want to make mention is with these damage states coming on in here, we are seeing a perk Genetic Limits come into play. Genetic Limits is a perk, doesn't get a lot of use if you're in an exhaustion meta. Really nice flashlight blinds here from Ace. In an exhaustion style of meta, for sure, exhaustion perks are great. Genetic Limits stopping any type of dead hard, head on. I would say Sprint Burst, not so much. Blythe, Balanced Landing, once you do get that hit on.
And keep in mind, for each blind, they are slowing down the trapper quite a bit. They did mix their flashlight with Champion of Light, so that's going to slow Myra down just a bit here for each blind that's being thrown at her.
Yeah, and Champion of Light, one of those perks, it does provide some momentary momentary slowdown for the killers. I believe it's 6 seconds of slowdown, so if you can use it as your killer. Oh, unfortunate back stun here. Able to go to the different side. We're gonna see another flashlight just to hide. Again, they're just trying to grab attention here with another pallet stun. Again, Ace or Blends showing some really good stuns and flashlights.
Yeah, Blends is taking advantage of any chance he can get and trying to get those flashlights in just to slow Myra down just a little bit. Taking her to a pallet over here. He's gonna want to take advantage of this pallet. I'm guessing try to get another blind in. Nope, he is moving away from this pallet and he is going to try to find another loop.
And something that's kind of key for our killer coming on in is that we've seen some really strong pallets come into play around the 3-gen. So if you can clean up that area and make sure that that area is completely pallet free, you're gonna have a really good time if you can hold down that 3-gen.
Now keep in mind as well, Myra did get off 3 pain res tokens already, so she has great pressure here so far. They're still at 4 gens. It looks like they do have a couple of gens being worked on, but they're just not able to complete them yet.
We're gonna see another generator pop here. I think again, survivors are being very. They're using the resources quite a bit in that corner. Again, I would like to see a little bit more of our survivors saving some of those pallets, taking a damage state, running to a dead zone to save these resources for endgame. Again, just Trapper's someone that can really catch up very quickly.
Oh, 100%. And he also gets a speed boost for every trap he places too, and Myra has taken advantage of that earlier.
They are getting a lunge for distance here, a competitive lunge as we like to call it, going for another hook state of our Elodie. Was able to drop pallet, again, just mind gaming perfectly. And we're gonna see our second hook here as another generator pops.
All right, Megan is on her second hook state here. It looks like Myra is getting quite a bit of pressure. They are down to 2 gens left. Myra does not have a 3-gen here, so it's going to be a little easier for them to kind of pressure those gens on her. But those traps are going to be her bread and butter. I hope they. Ooh, we do got a second blast mine here in the game.
I can just hear the survivors going tee hee hee as they get that stun damage. Going for, again, a competitive swing, as we'd like to call it. And what a great call here as well is that the 3-gen has been broken, and the spread on those gens are quite wide in this map. So we're gonna have to see some spread of traps here, as in our earlier matches, you know, really hunkering on one side of this match.
Indeed, with these gen placements, the survivors are definitely gonna have quite a bit of pressure, especially with all 4 members still being in the game. Noob does seem to find himself into a trap. It looks like Myra's gonna work her way over and try to take advantage of getting that hook.
And again, one of the stronger areas that you can place those traps is in the middle of where that hangman's noose is. We're not seeing a lot of play here from the traps right at pallets and windows. A couple to throw off the survivors, but again, spreading out the traps along the outsides of those loops are really coming in clutch here.
All right, Myra seemed to check water tower. It doesn't look like there's any progression going on with that gen. It looks like they're trying to save their progression for the Gallows gen, which is still regressing. And there's absolutely no progression at all in the back of the hook as well.
Now, as the game has progressed and people have noticed that the gen kicking and the pallet kicking are a little bit faster, we're going to call out our 4th perk on this build as Fire Up. Fire Up recently got a buff, a percentage every single token, which can really stack in place of what we usually see as Brutal Strength.
Fire Up does, it is so strong at endgame. It's definitely going to put way more pressure on them. Everything is just faster in general, so we're going to see how Myra works with that.
I do like this call. Again, we've seen a lot of flashbang, we've seen a lot of flashlight plays here, and the Fire Up bonus to pick up speed as Noob finds another trap here with their ankles, and Noob is going to be out of this game.
Right, Noob is out of the game. Noob's gonna have to go and ice them up, and Myra seems to come over here. They do have Pop Goes the Weasel, So I don't know how many kicks they have on that. There is an 8-kick limit on gens now. So Myra does seem to get off Papa Goes the Weasel before chasing anybody. That is 20% regression, so...
And I do like this call here is that Myra not initially looking to go and break that gen with Pop Goes the Weasel. They are looking to get that damage state in and then follow it up with a gen kick to provide a little bit more pressure getting survivors off those gens. We're going to see another chase here between Myra and Blunt, our ace, as Myra does reach through that window, getting a damage state here on ace. And then again, monitoring these 3 gens back and forth, just spreading out damage and seeing if they can snowball with it down here.
Myra did also put a trap at Shaq. It seemed to be one of Blunt's favorite loops. So it looks like Myra putting a trap there was a good call earlier. It did prevent them from using it again.
Beautiful hit here from Myra, just able to get that damage state in. Health state has been taken going through that pallet. Again, knowing the distance that you can likely make it if you were earlier on your swing, you will definitely make those pallets. So great stuff here from, again, all sides as we continue to pressure all 3 of these generators.
Right, looks like we're going to be taking another look here at Water Tower. They did have quite a bit of progression on the gens over here earlier. Looks like it is still progressing. Myra is going to tap it with a regression. We do have 3 more survivors in this game still, so let's see how they pressure the gens here. Again, There is quite a bit of a spread, so...
Yeah, it's a little bit of walking distance, but I can understand what our trapper is looking to do here, is that you want your survivors to get off of your generators, go ahead and reset here, as they can then pressure their traps, reset some traps up, and get themselves into a position that they can contend here. We're going to see another blast mine getting placed here. Myra's poor retinas are just taking a beating here. Lots and lots of use of that blast mine.
The thing is too with blast mine is that it doesn't just blind the user. It also it takes time because they have to kick the gen a second time. So it's going to give them just a little bit more time to get more progression on that one gen that they're pressuring down at Water Tower before that Myra comes back.
And it looks like this generator just about to be completed. Myra stepping up, blocking that generator as we see 2 survivors here. We've got Mindset to Decay as well as Megan in chase here. We only see Mindset here, our Adam, taking a run, trying to pull the survivors as much as possible. What Myra's looking for here is to get a down, protecting at least one side, and then pressuring for a potential other hook here. We're seeing a damage state here as Mindset is bringing the chase over to our main building as our last generator pops.
All right, our last generator did pop. Myra decides to break the wall. Unfortunately, the wall upstairs is still intact, so it's going to take them a bit to vault and try to get Mindset in this loop here.
Again, great stuff here. It does look like Mindset to Decay does have two health states remaining. So if they can catch them, I believe also Blunt is our last healthy survivor, as we are going to see a hit here and a down to Mindset to Decay as Blunt and Megan both leave as quickly as possible, just in hopes that the hatch can spawn underneath them.
What a great game. And it looks like Myra does get a fresh hook, full points, or not a fresh hook. Oh, okay, they were hooked earlier. But still, they do get the rest of the points on Mindset, giving their team just a little bit more of an advantage there.
And honestly, again, with no types of gen slowdown being Corrupt Intervention, Grim Embrace, something to block generators to give you that ample time to go and reset those traps, we're going to see some great play on all sides. And we are seeing, oh my goodness gracious. We're seeing some name changes here from our team. Fruity Loopers, highly sus here. This is going to be quite the round.
Of course, we got Mike here screaming with the Claudette from yesterday. All right, It looks like they are not spending any time putting down traps. They want to go ahead and just put some pressure right away on our survivors here. I guess they figure if they could get somebody on a hook, that'll keep people off gens at the beginning when they go in and put their traps down here.
Again, a little bit of a risky call here, as you do want to set up in the early game as much as possible, with Corrupt Intervention being your longest time here. We're going to see a swing at the pallet with a little bit of greed from our Nia. Hugh giving quite the run here, taking damage, leaping on over, and then heading right back over to Killer Shack.
Now the thing is that they got Trapper and Chase right away, so they don't even have to worry about traps being set at the moment. They are able to take full advantage of these loops that they have here. It does look like we get our first down with Hugh. Trapper is also going to get their first hook here as well. Still at 5 gen.
And there goes our first gen that is popped with a missed skill check from the survivors. So again, early game pressure from our Trapper can head right back over there. One of the 3 gens have been broken. Again, looks like we've got a disconnect here. So we're gonna have to play on, as we are seeing our first hook, unless there is some perks that aren't being used. Could we hop over to Mike's perk loadout?
Yep. Unfortunately, it won't let me.
All right, we're still figuring out what the reason for that DC is. Perks look good. There's no bots, so again, one of the rules is that if there is a DC on any point in time due to perks, then it will be a reset. If it is related to, if the killer is able to get their first hook before that DC happens, the match continues being down a person.
We also have to take into account that one of the gens was also complete before the DC happened as well.
Exactly, so points were on the table. I believe at this point we will play it out. Again, if we can have our person who disconnect, just let one of the mods know, or just write in chat as to the reason. We might be down to 3 people here.
All right, looks like we got our second down here. Dixon, they will be put on hook here shortly. Unfortunately, they only have 2 other survivors to try and kind of pressure these gens here, but this is another hook here as well. Fresh hook at that.
All right, fresh hook in for our Kate here. Again, seeing a couple other perks come into play. Again, we're gonna see our second Scourge hook coming on in here, as the survivors are attempting a save.
All right, they did get that save on the hook. However, Hugh was able to go back into the shack with the blind on OC, giving them a little bit of a chance to try and run away and extend this loop here.
And we are going to see our second gen getting completed here. Again, Nia taking Chase as far away as possible from those generators and at least trying to pull Trapper. Again, not a lot of early game traps have been set. We're seeing a little bit of smart map pressure from the survivors, again leading Trapper as far away as you can.
All right, it looks like our Nia has had their second hook now. They are starting to put down some traps near around the hook state here. Gonna put a little bit of pressure on this gen with Pop Goes the Weasel, getting that 20% damage regression down.
Again, something that we've seen pretty much every single round here is fastening tools. Again, my favorite perk here is we are going to see some more scratch marks, but something we haven't seen all Trapper rounds is Coffee Grounds. Now, what Coffee Grounds does is that once a trap is placed, you get an additional, I think, 5 or 10% boost to the speed for an extra 5 or so seconds. So this is more of like a chase-oriented Trapper add-on. We're seeing just a little bit of cleanup of tiles.
All right, looks like we had an attempt to save Hugh off hook here, but seeing the Trapper and while injured, it's best that they just leave so that Trapper doesn't get a free hit here. It does look like Fang Min is trying to get a save as well. They do end up taking a hit, but they do get Hugh off hook before they are able to die on it.
Now we are going to see a trade here right before that a survivor is going to go down. Now pressuring the survivors just a little bit. And seeing that they do have a flashlight in hand, and I think we're just going to see some good sportsmanship here from OC, recognizing that they're in for some danger. Place them on a hook for their first hook of the game.
Right, looks like OC is just taking a look around, putting some traps in the bush there. Really smart. It's always smart to it's always nice to put traps down where you know the survivors are going to be around. So, example like a hook here. Very smart of OC to try and put traps around there because they are going to be running from the hook here shortly.
Again, with not enough time to reset here, we are going to just see a trade at hook. Likely maybe going in for a little bit of a reset, a damage, you know, fix up those damage states as we see a survivor taking down a trap here placed at the Killer Shack pallet.
Right, getting a little bit of a reset here on some traps. Do see the Fangmen running towards main building along, trying to hide their stain here so that they can try and mind game a little bit, but Fangmen is not handling that. She is going around upstairs. However, he does still try to hide his stain and see if he could mind game here a little bit.
It's honestly so important, noticing that the survivor that you are chasing after is injured, so likely you can hear that unless running Iron Will. So walking backwards until you hear that noise from the survivor. A really smart play here as we catch a survivor. It looks like they do dodge that trap here. Potentially, oh my goodness, look at that run here. Unfortunately, just wasn't able to hug tight enough, but a misplaced trap here actually coming into effect as they go for that swing.
Alright, we do get our second hook here on Kate, along with another Pop Goes the Weasel by Water Tower Gen. It looks like they are also resetting that pallet trap as well.
Again, just a little bit of management here as they are going to come across their final survivor sitting at main, trying to at least get a couple points here on these generators. We are going to go and speak to both teams after. Again, just stuff like this does happen in our tournaments. You know, powers goes out. We continue to play so that we can call as fair of a match that we can.
Right, we do get it down here on Fangmen. We also get a hook state here, but unfortunately Kate does find themselves into a trap, and this is going to be endgame here.
Yeah, it is. Again, folks, stuff like this does happen. Regular jobs or regular games that you do play. We are going to go and speak to both sides here just to get the details about what happened for the disconnect. It does look like there was a bit of a power issue. Again, being that there was points already on the table and a hook state grabbed, we just continue play.
All right. We will be back, folks.
All right, we'll be back. Exciting stuff here. We'll be back with more.